What's up, guys? It's Parallax Abstraction, and welcome to what is totally not another retro flashback. Nope, this is PXA Peeks at Kingsway. You may have thought we were playing a Windows 3.1 or Windows 95 game, and well, I can certainly understand that, because that's definitely what this looks like. But no, this is actually a brand new game, and it's from Adult Swim, so you know it's going to be interesting, and boy is it that. This comes to us from a single-person developer from Vancouver, Canada, representing once again, named Andrew Morish, whose last endeavor was another Adult Swim published title called Super Puzzle Platformer Deluxe, which is a game that actually predates my YouTube efforts, but which I really enjoy. I still have it installed. Great title. Very different from this one, needless to say. This is basically an RPG that takes place in a mock operating system that resembles... It doesn't directly resemble anything. It's kind of like Windows 3.1, kind of like GNOME Linux, kind of like old Mac OS. It's a weird hybrid. I actually kind of like what he did with it. I think it's a neat design. And it is an RPG at its core, but it uses this sort of operating system thing to great effect, and it becomes actually core to the game, which is what makes it interesting. This is not just a throwback for throwback's sake, though there is certainly a lot of that. Now, we're using a fairly advanced save here. I'm not gonna lie, I save scummed a little bit to get to this point so that I could show this to you guys. And, well, first thing we're gonna do here, this game's a little quiet, so we're gonna turn on the music here. Oh my, yes. This is old school in many different ways, including music that sounds straight out of 1990s MIDI. I do kind of dig it, though I'm going to say the style gets a little old after a while, but there's a playlist here that you can choose to shuffle and do a bunch of stuff with. As you can see, it's, you know, it's fairly significant. It loops around here, but it's fairly significant. There's a lot to it. So, yeah, the core of this game is it's a basic RPG. You have you're handed out quests via your guild, and they come by basically, well, emails. And this game doesn't take itself seriously at all. It has a lot of in-jokes, like here's a thing that a quest you're given to go and get some things called ghost caps, and it's called natural enhancements. You get it here. So you're working for a group called Adventure Corp. So you generate a character at the start of every game. You can pick random names if you want, and I got Wine Bank, which I just thought was amazing. And my character is a Beastkin, which is a rather interesting character that has very high stats and can eat items for health, but has a really bad starting reputation, and you have to do a lot of work to get merchants in that to treat you well. You've also got your standard warrior, mage, classes like that, fairly standard stuff. And, well, this is a roguelike. Take a drink. There is some persistent progression in this that I'm going to show you guys afterwards, but it is a roguelike, so it is sort of a one-and-done kind of deal. And I will tell you that this game has kicked my ass repeatedly. It took me quite a while to get to this point where I could actually get a decent way into it and show it to you. But at the same time, once you get a good run going, the game it definitely does get easier. I had a lucky run here. I mean, it is a roguelite, so there is a lot of luck involved sometimes. And I did reach a point where I just got a lot of really good items handed to me at once, and now I'm actually fairly powerful. So we're actually... Oh, a fungaloid. That's what I had to kill here. So you go to different points in the world, and you come across different things. So sometimes it's just random encounters. Sometimes it's interesting... random people that you can talk to and do things with. In this case, it's a house that has some interesting stuff in it, items that you can pick up and use, other random things that you can then sell back. You know, you'll run into... Oh, man, I'm getting some wicked stuff out of here. And there's a lot of these little random encounters. There's also this dark creature that's, or dark entity thing that's approaching. I actually don't know what happens with that. I haven't actually seen yet. Maybe we'll see in this run here. But your main goal here is to eventually get to the King's Castle in the east and basically, I believe, take out kind of a corrupt force that's in the world. It's not very specific. But as you get further and further east, you will... Alright, Scroll of Heal. As you get further and further east in the game, you will encounter harder and harder enemies, and if you are not level... Whoops, I actually didn't need to rest there, but oh well. If you are not leveled up sufficiently, you'll get your ass beat, and pretty good. I've done that repeatedly by just going, you know, not necessarily getting greedy, just not paying attention, and not getting myself sufficiently equipped up to get through it. Otherwise, a run of this game can take only a couple of hours. There's a bunch of different endings, so it does reward repeat play, and there are achievements for beating it with every class and things like that. And as you can see here, there's a leveling mechanic. So I have actually leveled up here. So when you level up, you get a chance to learn a different skill. Some of them are passive, some of them are active. So you see these battle skills down here. So these are the different things that you will use when you're fighting the enemies, and you can rearrange these as you like, and you can put additional skills down here. So I have these, which is Strong Attack and Leech, which is a magic spell that takes some health from them and gives it to me. You can also get a this is another one here, passive, Critical Focus, so chance to critical hit +4. As you can see, there's a variety here that do a bunch of different things. Actually, that passive would be good for me right now, so... And you're going to run into enemies on a regular basis, and you kill the enemies, you loot them, and you sort of move on from there. And you see here I also got skill points I can level up. So you've got Strength, Vitality, which affects your maximum health, Intellect, which is your magical ability, Beastkin doesn't have the greatest magical ability, and Agility, which affects your attack speed capability. And there's a bunch of different, you can inspect a bunch of different things here. You're going to see there are various different towns and forts in the world that have different abilities, or different things within them. So you see this one has an inn, which you can rest at to get your health back for a little bit of money. It has a general store, a weapon shop, and a magic shop. So there's also an armor shop. There are guilds. And the guilds are where you get and turn in quests. You will get quests handed to you just by being out in the world. They'll come in like I showed you with those sort of email things here. And then if you complete the objectives, you go and turn them in. And if you complete the quests, which are not super numerous, you will get a crazy amount of experience and often some really, really nice items. This hardy ring here, now compared to what I have here... So as you're seeing here, this plays very much like an old school game. You know, you don't have any real-time hover comparisons, anything like that. There were a lot of shareware RPG type things that came out back in the Windows 3.1 and early Windows 95 era that had a lot of things that played very much like this. It's clear that the developer, it's clear that he grew up in that era and definitely knows his inspirations very well, which I think is cool. There's stuff here for people for a modern gamer to be sure, but if you have the nostalgia for this old school stuff, you're definitely going to dig it some more. Also, why did the music stop playing? Oh, did it? Oh. Oh, weird. Okay. I'm not sure if it did that for you guys or not. My audio cut out, actually. I'm not sure what happened there. That's weird. But yeah, I love the name of some of these. Disk error, page file, no DMAP. Like, if you're an old school IT guy like me, some of that stuff is making you grin. I don't doubt it. So any junction point here, so that's what you do is you travel between junction points, and there's a travel time that you saw there, during which there can be random encounters. So any of these yellow ones are ones I have not yet been to. The blue ones I have been to. And it's all hub and spoke. So you'll get to the area that you're in, and then you can go to any connected adjacent point. You see here, there's time involved, and then there'll be an encounter here. Sometimes there's nothing, sometimes there's just an enemy, sometimes there's an encounter like this. These encounters, I will say, are very samey. A lot of people... I have a ton of gold, so why not? Ooh, a traveling shirt. Funny thing, too, is you can rename any item you want. So you can just call them whatever you like, which can be useful for organizing things sometime. I don't actually need this, so you know what? I'm just going to consume it. Yeah, my Beastkin class can actually eat items to gain health back. It's a little strange. You start with a really terrible reputation, but as you can see here, because I've been doing a lot of quests, I'm actually in pretty good shape on that regard. So, alright. So we're going to move up here. Okay, so here's an enemy. So here you're seeing, and you've seen this before, but I wanted to let you guys see it to see if you'd pick up on it. Oddly enough, this guy has made window management a core mechanic of the game. So you see, as I've been fighting enemies here, now I have to admit, I'm kind of chewing through these guys because I'm a little over-leveled now. But you see here as I go through this that when enemies appear, the windows are actually moving. And it's like I'm one of the 5 people in the world who was actually not the biggest fan of Undertale. But Undertale did this too. It actually had weird little UI quirks and tweaks. So this is a quest objective I have up here. Quest Exorcist Wanted. I forget what this is, so let's go check it out. So, yeah, Undertale had this thing where it was very much used the UI and made it a core part of the game. And that's what this does too. So some enemies will move the windows around like that. There's some enemies that will actually make the windows disappear so that you have to bring them back up again. There'll be some enemies that shuffle things around. There'll be some enemies that make that shoot additional things like a fireball at you, and you'll see this window sort of jet in from the side, and you've got to try to click a button on it quickly. If you do, you avoid it. If you don't, you take extra damage. Large 2-story house, but the door is open. Okay, you know what? I'm going to use a health potion to boost up my health here because I have a feeling this is going to be rough. So we're investigating this house here as part of this quest. There's a note on the table. Beware the basement. Okie doke. Let's eat a note. Alright, check the portraits. Last one is an empty landscape. So you see, we're just sort of looking here. Oh, silver key. I bet we need that to get downstairs. The door won't budge, but there doesn't seem to be a lock. Okay. Let's check these places up here. So you see there's a bed here. If you find a random bed in the world, you can actually choose to rest in it. You won't get to rest as much as you do in an inn, but you do have that ability. Oh, here we go. Ooh, and I got a critical hit on him. There. So you see how he made that window disappear? Little things like that just make the combat just a little bit more crazy. Okay. There's some old clothes and some lanterns. I don't know what a lantern gives you. This may be useful. I'm going to throw it out there and guess that the basement is super dark. There's a bunch of supplies and a 3-digit combination lock. Enter the 3-digit code. Now, this is something new that I've run into. See, this is kind of... All right, that's interesting. All right, you know what? Let's hit the basement. The door to the basement is locked. Use the silver key, which does not fit. Uh-oh. So now we have a problem because there are a bunch of supplies. Okay, potion. Clearly this basement's pretty rough. Oh, and of course you have lots of inventory management as well. You have a supplies bag in addition to your main bag, or I got the supplies bag by completing a quest, but you can run out of... There's weight management. Of course, it wouldn't be an RPG without that. I have no idea what this is. So, alright. So I guess we gotta bail for now and come back later, because we don't know what that is. Now, going much further east here is going to make things quite a bit tougher. I have actually had a pretty rough time in this area. As you can see, enemies are coming in that have far greater health and hit a lot harder than the other guys. So I actually tried to run from that one. I didn't actually mean to do that. But you do have the ability to run, but like a lot of old school RPGs, it's a random dice roll. So you may get away, you may not. And that's something you have to be cognizant of as well. Alright, so we made it to the... Okay, we made it here, so this is good. So we'll have an opportunity to rest here now, which is good. And we can also chuck out a bunch of stuff we don't need. So as you can see here, this is very much an old school RPG, and with all the good and, in some cases, the bad and the frustrating that comes with that. But that's very much what this was made for, and that's kind of why I find it interesting, is it's very much designed in that old school way. And... I think he did a fantastic job. Oh, new quest. All right. Urgent help requested. My name is Gelu, and I'm hoping you can help me. I was attacked by some bandits, and they took a very special ring from me. It's been in my family for several cataclysms. And I'd hate to lose it now of all times. Please, if you can find it and drop it off at a guild outpost, I'll make sure you get a great reward. All right, so we just have to find that guy's thing out there at some point. So, all right. And you see here, we have a bunch of different things we can do. Bright heavy plate armor of sense. Whoa. Wow! Required level 12 and strength 24. Okie dokie. I'm not so sure about that one there, but, you know, we'll see about that. So, alright. So we gotta go exploring a little bit more here and be very, very careful about how far we push here, because we are clearly in a little bit more over our heads than we were before. I'm hoping I run into an enemy that does some of the crazier UI stuff so I can show it to you here, because I think it's really interesting. Oh, hooded figure. Some monsters only come out at night. Okay, so that creeping cloud over there must just be the night. That's coming into nighttime. So, okay, that makes a little more sense. I was a little concerned that if I ran into that, it was going to be like, oh, you walked in and think, there we go. So you see it send out poison vines. So if I don't avoid these, I will actually get poisoned and take poison damage. But you see that? Isn't that clever? I think that's a really, really neat idea. And, oh, a group of thieves. Could this be them? Let's talk to the thieves. Thieves don't seem interested in talking. All right. Man up, boys. Time to wreck some fools, I hope. Ooh, these guys are doing a lot of damage, and there's 3 of them. So you see, when there's 3 of them, you don't get any respite. You gotta go. And the way defense works in this is interesting. So what you do is you put up a block, and it's a toggle. So you put up the block, and you will take a defensive stance and take less damage as long as the block is up. And the idea behind that is that it gives you time. I don't kind of want to do it with these guys because I kind of got to rock this here. There we go. So if you do that, if you put up the block, it gives you the opportunity to go into other windows to do things like find healing potions, find other items that can help you, and try to... Ooh, Deaf Thief Garb. And we'll try to help you basically survive the battle. So you really want to make... you want to be careful to balance that stuff out. And in later encounters, that is absolutely critical. So there it is, Gelu's Ring. Oh yeah. So we just completed another quest. So now we're going to get back to where this guild is so we can turn it in. It's weird that you can get quests from your guild when you're out and about, but you can't turn them in until you get to a place. I mean, this game is goofy. These old RPGs that sort of broke the fourth wall, like I said, they never really took themselves that seriously. So it's not the end of the world. You know what? We're going to try to run from this guy. All right. Because that guy was kicking our butts. So, all right, quests. Ooh, and I just hit level 10, and I got the level 10 achievement. There are achievements in this game. They're all pretty tough to get. A lot of them involve finishing the game, so don't expect to get a ton of achievements in this unless you're really going to dig into it. 800 experience, reputation increase, and reward received. All right, good stuff. Temporarily stun an enemy whenever you get a critical hit. Yeah, you know what? We're going to go for that. This is... Ooh, Gelu's Shield, you say? What does this guy have? Wow. +4 intellect and vitality and agility and 14% block, and it does 12... yeah, okay. It does 12 defense, so that's kind of nuts. And I learned a new skill from picking that up. I learned Magical Shield. I will take those. Yeah, so... You're getting the meat of this here. Like, I will say that it is, I do feel, and this has been a common complaint in the forums, I do think it's a little light on content. Most of the encounters that you run into are very much the same. It's fight this enemy, or there's a chest here, or a weird hooded figure is in the distance. They seem X, and then you either fight them, you cheat them, you talk to them, in which case they will often point out interesting things on your map for you to go find. Things like that, but it's all fairly rote and fairly repetitive. It just doesn't feel... And maybe you get more variety the further east you go and as you get closer to the King's Castle, I'm not sure. But at least at this point, I have not found anything that I've run into... I've not found anything to be particularly mind-blowing at this point in that regard. But I'm still having a lot of fun with this. I will probably try to finish it. I don't know if I will... I might continue to save scum it. I'm not sure. I kind of feel bad saying that, but you can get a long way in this game and lose everything pretty quick. So, you know, it's tough to say. I am a fan of the roguelike genre and its resurgence. But this one is pretty brutal, but at the same time, it's not a very long game either. So it only takes another wanderer. They look scared, and he's being attacked. That's why. So, all right, we're going to fight again. There's the poison vines. Now those ones are not too difficult to avoid. There are some that are super fast and that it's very tricky. Okay, the Wanderer tells you about a great treasure and marks its location, which is right here. So you can see here where we're getting eastward here, because this is actually the King's Castle. I don't want to know what's going to happen right now if I try to go there, so... Oh, this chest is being guarded by a creature. A lesser demon. Alright. I haven't seen this guy before. He does 15. He's no pushover, that's for sure, but... Well, we still got him, though. Demon's Ward. What is that? Someone may want this. Okay, so that's obviously a quest item that we haven't seen yet. Oh, and the chest was a mimic. You son of a something something. Alright, so let's go to this and take him out. See how this is compelling, though? Like, I've talked a little bit about how, yeah, obviously this game looks a little dated, and it's a little bit rough in terms of the lack of variety, and yeah, a game where the UI is as much of an enemy as anything else you're going to encounter is not going to appeal to everybody for sure. But it's a compelling little mechanics-based RPG. You're not going to play this game for the story. I'm going to tell you that right now. The story doesn't seem terribly impressive, at least not what I've seen of it thus far. But it's fun. It's good mechanics-based fun. It does very much... Oh, geez. It does very much remind me of the old-school shareware RPGs that you could play on Windows 3.1 back in the day, and I do have a soft spot for those, even though I was never any good at them. Ooh. Grim Ring of Agility. +9 to agility. That's humongous. Like, that's a huge bonus. And I do 15% less damage to undead. Regeneration, move speed, and travel distance. That is pretty important. 1 strength and 2 regeneration. Regeneration is not a huge deal in this. You regenerate a very tiny amount of health over a fairly long distance. So you know what? I'm going to put this on here because 25 agility is bonkadonk. That is, that's pretty crazy. Did I just say bonkadonk? My God, I did. Ugh. I'm starting to sound like my colleague, Steve. Oops, and I missed him, so now I'm poisoned, so this is a bad scene. And he didn't even have anything on him, you bugger. Alright, so we're back in town now. Now, we do have an antidote, so we'll just use that. We'll take that off. I think the poison would go away if we went to sleep as well, but that's okay. So the stuff I've been picking up here, the majority of this is actually not as good as what I'm carrying with me, so we can get some decent money for this. But as you can see, selling stuff, you don't get that much for it. It's good if you're low on cash and need to get yourself caught up a little bit, but it's not... There's nothing super fantastic here. So Bandits 2s, we don't have those. Living Seeds. Now, we can complete that if I get one more of them. So I can go wander around and look for one of those other enemies to get that there. And that may help. So we'll see if we can do that here. And you see time has been moving along. You actually have a clock in the system tray here, if you will, but it's actually the game's clock, so you can see night is moving in. So that's that exorcism house too, which we still haven't figured out how to get through yet, so we gotta figure out what that's a revenant. I want to get one of those living seeds. And yeah, so the core problem with this is definitely a lack of content. Oh, you sneaky bugger. This is one of those guys that makes your windows disappear. So he doesn't make them disappear, he just makes them minimize. So you have to go find them really quick because the battle continues on, right? Alright, so let's move around here. And so far, I have to admit, like, so far I haven't made this look super challenging. Just trust me when I tell you that the game starts out rough, and if you get greedy and try to move too fast, the game will make you regret it big time. This game will definitely beat on you if you let it. But oh, the Shadow Bandit, this guy's the worst too. This guy will make yep, this guy makes himself disappear. And you gotta bring the window up again. Oh, you, stop it! See, it gets tense, and you're kind of like, I gotta deal with this fast, and So, alright, and he had an invisibility potion because that's how they do their thing. And this does allow you to do this to a point as well. Another one? Really? Really? At least I can stun him a little bit with that. But you see, as you get further east, the enemy's health and whatnot does go up substantially, so it definitely gets harder. All right, and I leveled again. Word. Oh, interesting. Ooh, resurrect. The next time you die, you don't. Heal fully and lose this skill. Oh, I like that. That's very nice. Very nice. All right, I'm going to put most of my stuff into strength here because I need that. Ooh, the Cruel Blade. What is this? Cruel Blade of Vitality. Oh, it's weak sauce compared to what I have now. All right, never mind that. So we're just going to keep looking around here and seeing if we can find... We didn't get a living seed off that creature, which is what... Oh, look, another wanderer on your path. See what I mean? This stuff is rather repetitive. No, you're not buying... Oh, wait, the buckler? You're going to pay me 20 gold for that? Yeah, okay, you can take that. Absolutely. Let's talk rumors. Okay. See, now we've got a skeleton that has 102 hit points, so it's getting rough as we get further east here. So it's narrative-wise, you're not coming to this for that, but it's really mechanically interesting. I like the fact that there's definitely no other RPGs out there, at least not modern RPGs like this, and I find it really an interesting take. Like, he just decided, hey, I remember these games from way back in the day, and I'm gonna make something like that because why the heck not? And that's the kind of stuff that Adult Swim publishes, which is one of the reasons I like them so much. And it's a brave decision because, honestly, if I knew Andrew Morrish and he came to me and he said, this is the kind of game I'm going to make, I would have been like, I don't know, dude. That kind of feels like something that you might have a hard time selling to people. Like, who in the modern era is going to want to buy this? Who doesn't have a fondness for these old style RPGs, and really how many of us are there? But it's done actually fairly well. It's got a very, very strong community who is itching to get more content. I'm hoping that he does update it more often. Oh, shoot. Oh, wow, that flail takes a ridiculous amount of space. But it's not a very powerful weapon, so let's just consume it. And I'm sure this Iron Helm is not going to be worth it. Yeah, it's defense 11 versus this, which is defense 8, but gives me all this. So, no, we're not going to go for that. So there's the King's Castle, but as you see, we can go further east than this still. So this MIDI music, I don't know. Some of it doesn't really set the world on fire for me, but some of it kind of... I kind of like this one. It's a little groovy. Kind of reminds me of Canyon.mid a little bit from back in the day. So, but yeah, I'm enjoying this quite a bit. I've been explaining this to you guys for a little while now. I know this has been kind of a longer video, but this is something that's hard to explain if you can't see it. Oh, the same witch. Yes. So this is a witch I ran into earlier who came up and said the first one's free. No. Yeah, that way. Yeah, I'm gonna regret that later, I think. So yeah, I've been showing this to you guys for a while here, but this is a game that you really have to show someone to have them understand. I can't really explain to you what this is. I have to show it to you and show you the variety of it. But I'm gonna show you one last thing here, which is where the persistent progression comes in. So we're gonna save this here. So this is your adventure log. So you can create a new adventure. You can have multiple adventurers going at once if you want. You can also, if an adventurer dies, they will show up here and you can bury them and get a gift, which is basically you can take one item from their inventory typically and carry it forward with you. But there's also this. As you complete runs and die, you will earn gems. And you can spend these gems on permanent progression items. So as you can see here, I can get what are called starting gifts. So I can start with the dagger, the shield. If I spend these gems, I can get all these stat boosts. I can unlock these skills. I can get a lucky coin. I can start with a bunch of extra gold. I can start with a ring of pain. There's also appearance options. So there are themes in this. You can go into here. There are different themes. Like you can make it dark if you want. Oh yeah. Remember this, Windows 3.1 users? Oh, yeah, trippy cursor, we used to call this. I like that. There are different cursors you can unlock. You can run with a different background color if you like. You know, it's very much, again, this old school sort of OS thing. But you can unlock different cursors to play with. You can unlock font or gibberish. You could play the whole game in wingdings because, of course, you'd spend 100 gems on that. Why wouldn't you? And oh, yeah, you can unlock quality of life improvements. So everything in this game is mouse driven. Most RPGs have shortcuts like press C to open your character, etc., etc. This does, but you got to pay for them. So character screen, main bag, status screen, close all closable screens, and cycle through open screens. Literally, it's a quality of life improvement, and you pay for it. Yeah. So none of this is necessary to beat the game. As you can see, I don't have many things unlocked yet, and yet I've still been, you know, I've been holding my own okay, at least so far. So, but it's a loving tribute to those old school games and for everything about them, for better or worse, for the stuff that, you know, the stuff that was good and the stuff about them that wasn't so good. But it's a loving tribute to that holds on to its inspiration with both hands. And I kind of really like that. This is not going to be for everyone. I've covered several games lately where what I say about them is that this is not for everyone, but those who it is for are going to really love it. And this has been a long video for a game like this, but I think it takes a bit to explain what this is and to show it to people. And I hope I've given you a really good explanation of what this is. You're going to know from watching this whether or not this is something you're going to dig. And I personally do. I'm kind of kicking the game right now with this character. I'm actually this is the best character I've had to this point. So, did you know 80% of people suffer from low health every day? Well, now there's help. 2 skulls, 2 living seeds, and a beast eye. And you know what? I have those. And that's for a vitality potion. So, you know what? Oh, wait, I don't have enough for that? Oh, I don't have a skull. Oh, bollocks. Oh, well. So we'll do that later. But you're seeing what's cool about this, and yeah, I think this is really interesting, and I've been having a fun time with it, and I'm going to try to get at least one run done, I think. And yeah, if this looks neat to you, if you're a fan of these old school games, definitely check it out. And again, we do have Steam refunds, so if you're not sure about it, give it a try. I do wish it had more content. It does seem a little thin in that regard. I do suspect that this is sold well enough that hopefully it does get either expansions or just free content add-ons, because that's the thing the community is definitely craving at the moment. But it's a good time in a very old school way. So yeah, that is Kingsway, developed by Andrew Moorish and published by Adult Swim Games in 2017. It is available on the PC only right now for $10. Like a lot of Adult Swim titles, it's not on Mac and Linux. I'm not sure why that is. This, I don't really know how you'd make work on a console, so I don't know if we'll ever see it there. This really needs a mouse, but hopefully it does come to more platforms as well. But the nice thing about this is it will obviously run on literally anything. I've run this on my work computer. I've run this on my laptop, both of which have low-end Intel integrated graphics. This game doesn't require anything, so you could run this on a crappy netbook if you wanted. A version of this for tablets would be kind of neat too, actually. This would definitely work fine with a touchscreen, so maybe we'll see that at some point too. But yeah, again, good time in an old school way. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you liked what you saw here, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. That does help me out a great deal. If you want to watch something else, check out the videos on screen now, and don't forget to follow @PXA Media on Twitter to find out about new stuff first.